and welcome. My name is Cassie Bickford. I'm a nurse at Woodridge, and I'm here to review my proposal for implementing the Swift Ultraslide sheets for staff and patient safety and how it will benefit our facility. Our agenda today will be to go over the need and problem, the supporting research, my proposed solution, the budget for the proposed solution, and how it will benefit our facility. What is our need? The most frequent bodily demand of aides and nurses are the repositioning and boosting of patients up in bed. 7 out of 100 workers in the residential care homes get injured to the point where they need to be out of work for an extended period of time. They miss an average of 623 days missed from work. For LNAs in 2011, the amount of injuries were 30,370. Out of that amount, 4,790 were injuries of the arms and shoulders. With nurses in 2011, the injuries were 20,730. Out of that number, 2,320 were of their arms and shoulders. The arms and shoulders are the primary large muscle groups that help in boosting and repositioning patients in bed. Injuries related to effort and force. So here I wanted to show you how drastically nurses and nurses' aides how drastically they can be injured of their arms and shoulders as compared to other occupations. So it shows you the registered nurses and the nurses' assistants, their total cases, the amount of those injuries that were of their shoulders and arms, which are the large muscle groups associated in patient repositioning and boosting. And then I showed you engineers, so most engineers are physical, and their total cases in 2011 was 1,230, and only 50 of those were of the shoulder and 50 of those were of the arms. To take it to a more serious level, we looked at the athletes and sports competitors in 2011. Their total cases were 2,510, still significantly lower, with 920 of their shoulder. Oops. And this is because when you're boosting patients, you are using your arms, shoulders, and you're using resistance against the patient's weight and the force of the sheets. I'll get into more of that later. Compliance. According to the American Nursing Today, there is increased compliance when there's an ease of the product, management support, resources, training, and supplies. And how are we going to do this? Well, this new slide system is easy to use. I'll show that in just a minute. It stays in place at all times, which would decrease people wanting to take shortcuts. And training and support will be provided as part of our implementation. Reducing facility costs. So as I mentioned, with the people missing so much work, in 2011, it cost $13.1 billion in lost wages for facilities due to injuries. For each employee that needed to be out of work, it cost the company about $862, which is composed of the lost wages, workers' compensation, and insurance claims. You also have medical expenses, legal costs, repair and plan of correction. So if they find out that they were injured and there was something that we could have done differently to prevent it, such as using a safer slide sheet, that costs money. Lost productivity, replacement employees, or overtime. So when you have injured workers, you need to fill in their holes. And so you will need to use agency staff, which costs significantly more for the facility per hour, and or pay overtime to the staff that's still there. You're also going to have costs due to lower staffing rates and decreased morale, which is when a lot of mistakes and shortcuts are made. Solution. This is the Swift Ultraslide system. As you can see in the first picture, the standard bottom sheet has this material that is slippery, and it is only in the center of the bed. As you can see in the picture below it, the draw sheet, which is what nurses and nurses' aides use to boost the patients, also has a slippery material on the back. So two slippery materials together is going to make the ease of sliding. It's going to decrease the force of resistance, and it's going to make it much easier. As you can see, these nurses' aides are smiling. Decreased effort and force. A study by Olga and her colleagues showed that when comparing the use of the Ultraslide system with the traditional jersey sheet system of most hospitals and residential care homes such as ours, they found that the burst of muscle activity was less, as well as the duration of bursts, that's how they're measuring the force used, and the perception of exertion was also less, meaning that the workers using the Ultraslide Swift or the Swift Ultraslide systems were feeling like they weren't working as hard. So that would help boost morale. The duration of bursts and the burst of muscle activity were both lower, meaning that there's less effort and force needed to boost a patient on the Swift Ultraslide system versus the standard sheet. Compliance enhancement. So as I mentioned earlier, the sheet system stays in place. So at all times, you have the availability to use this Swift Ultraslide system. Our traditional system of what we have now, we have these slide sheets which are made of the same slippery material, but you need to put them underneath the patient and take them out from the patient each time that you're doing this. Once we move to the Swift system, we will no longer need to take that additional time, which will decrease people wanting to take a shortcut and will increase compliance. We'll also have training and reviews. Before my system goes out, we're going to have an extensive training on the unit that we're going to use it for. We're going to start on our rehab unit, which is where it will get most use. We will train all the rehab staff, including the management staff, on how to use it with myself, the staff educator, and a representative from MPI, which is the company that makes these systems. There will be a video, there will be a demonstration, and there will be hands-on. That way everyone feels comfortable. Then as we roll it out, we will have questionnaires and surveys to determine if the patients like it, if they still feel safe, if the staff members like it, if they still feel safe, if they feel like they're using more or less energy. And also we'll be looking at the number of staffing injuries before the implementation, during the implementation, and a month after the implementation to see if our rates are going down. Budget. This is my proposed budget. To start on C-Wing, to start on our rehab wing, we will need to have a bariatric setup and a standard setup. I propose that we start with 4 bariatric setups. We don't typically have very many bariatric patients at one time. So the cost of doing the bariatric slide sheet is $205 a piece. If we do 4, that's $820. And same with the bottom sheet, which is $205 for a bariatric bed. A standard slide sheet, I propose that we get 38 of them. They cost $190 for the standard slide sheet and the standard bottom sheet. We're looking at an estimated cost of $16,080. Although this may seem like a big amount at the beginning, the investment will pay itself back in less than a year. Benefits to our facility. Why do we want to do this? This will maintain our patient skin integrity, which is a big focus in our facility. It will decrease worker injuries, which therefore will reduce costs associated with injured staff, such as replacement staff, agency staff, full-time, workers' compensation, medical claims, legal claims, and costs associated with making a plan of correction. We will have enhanced compliance, which that's every nurse's favorite word is compliance, especially when the state survey is coming, and it will boost morale. And when there's a boost in morale, you get more things done with greater patient outcomes. Now I open this time up for any questions. Thank you for your time.